What's up, guys and gals? Welcome back to the Nerd Castle. Today in the world of indie games, we're going to be taking a look at Star Valor. This is a one-man project that I covered about a year and a half ago. I think like the beginning of 2021. But we did kind of like the early game rotation the last time that we covered it, sort of like that entry-level look at the game. This time around, I've played the game for about, oh god, I don't even know, like 10, 15 hours. I've been streaming it, I've been playing it in my free time on the same save, and so I'm a little bit in there. I've got a fleet built up. So what is Star Valor, just in case you missed the last video? Star Valor is an open-world sandbox space fleet building action RPG. So if you've ever played Space Pirates and Zombies, and you've played something like Star Sector, this game is probably... So if you take Star Sector and you put it on the left end of a line, and you take Space Pirates and Zombies and you put it on the right end of a line, Star Valor is probably going to be nestled somewhere right in the center. It's basically Space Pirates and Zombies, but with a little bit, like quite a bit more granularity, but at the same time, there are aspects of it that are more granular than Star Sector, but there are some that are less, and the game is about kind of getting random loot drops along the way to upgrade your ships. This is a game that does not have a narrative as far as I know. At least my character is almost level 25 and I haven't bumped into it yet. The level cap is 50. I'm pretty sure that really the quests and whatnot in this game are just an excuse to get you out into the middle of nowhere and exploring so that random emergent things that they can happen. But if you've ever wanted to play a game that was kind of like a hybrid between like Mount and Blade and maybe like Space Pirates and Zombies, Star Valor's a pretty good place to look. This game has made me a believer, so if after watching this video you wanted to get the game for yourself, I have a link for you down below in the description. On top of that, you can also take a look down below for my Twitch stream. There should be a VOD up for this game, just in case you wanted to see like an uncut 4 or 5 hour playthrough with like all of the building blocks and like my learning progress and everything else. But let's dive on in. Alright, so here we are. I have a level 23 character right now. This is my little fleet. You can see them all kind of hovering around me. I didn't think about this very well. I shouldn't have spawned in on a dark system at the beginning of the game because you guys aren't getting to see all the pretty graphics. Reset! There we go. I just had to get us into a system where the lights are turned on. That way you can take a look at all the graphics and everything else as we fly around and the backgrounds and whatnot. So as you can tell, this is a top-down space game, and it is completely entirely open world and sandbox. You can do whatever you want inside of this game. It's not going to coerce you. It's not going to twist your wrist. You can play the game however you like to play the game. As of right now, I've been playing the game as kind of a combat salvager. I started out as a salvager, but there wasn't enough salvage to make me happy, and so I decided to make my own salvage. And so I'm both in the salvage demand and the salvage supplying industry right now, and it's allowed me to build up a little fleet. So I've got like 5 ships around. Oh, is there somebody around here who's trying to hurt us? My scanners are really zoomed in right now because we're in a nebula, so it's kind of hard to see what's going on. So anyways, what kind of things are there to do in this game? Well, you can hunt pirates, you can mine, you can salvage, you can do crafting. Space station building is not in the game yet, but the developer has said that he's actively working on it. I don't know exactly when that's going to deploy. You can go out and you can try to hunt down sweet upgrades so that you can slowly make your ships more efficient and stronger so you can take on bigger challenges. There's bosses, there's faction conflicts between like the Miners Union and the Syndicate and like the Vengi and like all these other factions that are trying to take over systems and fighting with each other and getting into like giant 150 ship battles that you can participate in, kind of Mount and Blade style. There's a lot of stuff here, but I suppose we'll start out. I think that I've got a bad feeling that this is gonna, well, okay, it's probably a good feeling for you guys, but I've got a feeling that this is gonna be a longer video than normal just because there's so much to cover. So anyways, the UI. We've got some buttons up here. We can do our ship refitting. We've got our character sheet. We've got our sector map. We've also got our galaxy map and our quest log. I've got a collector beam right now that grabs loot for me so that I don't have to fly across it. We've got our armor. When that goes down to 0, you are dead. The game does offer a permadeath mode in case you like to play your games like a roguelike. I'm playing on just the normal mode right now, but there is a roguelike mode where you get 1 life, and if you die, that's it. We've also got our energy. That's food for weapons. and boosters. We've also got shields down here. Shields go down first, and then armor goes down second, then poof, you die. This is my warp drive and my level over here so that we can fast travel in between systems. You can control various systems on your ship through these little hotkeys right here. Q, E, and R will allow you to power up and power down the thrusters, shields, and weapons, either making them less efficient or more efficient in exchange for higher energy drain. Our heat levels basically split up by different hard points that we've assigned all of our weapons to. If I discharge my weapons like so, you can see that the little meters are going up. And so anyways, that's the UI in general. Over here we have the fleet interface. We'll talk about that a little bit later, but for right now I think I should probably chop you guys straight into the action. There's an asteroid field right there. If you're one of those people that plays space games and enjoys lasering rocks, whoo buddy, this game's got rocks to laser, let me tell you. In fact, it is very, very profitable to mine in this game if that's what you're into. So anyways, let's go to one of these stations and we'll see if we can find ourselves a job. So every single station is going to have like various things you can do there. There's a mission board, there's the academy where you can hire new pilots. That's right, each of these ships is not just a ship, it's got a human being inside of it, and that human being levels up. They start out like white quality, and as they level up, there's a chance every time they level up that they'll evolve to a higher loot quality basically, which will give them more perks. Each of these guys has a different job for different ships. Different ships have different crew. So some ships will have gunners, some ships will have navigators, some ships will have logistics officers, and you've got to kind of like buy these guys and put them on your ship. You buy out their contract and put them on your ship to fill in various jobs. Like if you take a look at my Eagle right now, which is a Corvette, you can take a look at our crew slots over here, and I've got a co-pilot, which is actually one of the named co-pilots. This guy's actually a unique guy that I found floating in a life pod out in the middle of nowhere. There's also Klaus Gilmore, who I spent like probably the last 3 hours looking for a navigator, just sort of passively while I was flying around doing jobs, and I finally found one. So he's kind of the new guy, but anyways, he gives me the ability to jump further in space. And to kind of like warp further and scan farther, so on and so forth. But other ships will have hard points. And a cool thing about this game is that any ship you see in this game, you can pilot. So if you see somebody flying like a planet-sized Titan, you can get one of those eventually in the game if that's what you want to do. Every single station is going to have markets. There are special stations. It's also important to note that different factions and different space races will have different ships and different things on offer at their stations, and so it's really, really a good idea to kind of like fly around and see what equipment, see what weapons, and see what ships all the different stations have. From what I can tell so far, I think there's like 4 or 5 factions, and every faction seems to have like 9 or 10 ships, and those 9 or 10 ships can come in white, green, blue, purple, and I think orange quality. So anyways, there's quite a few ships in this game as of right now, if that's the kind of thing that you're into. It's turned into a little bit of a collectathon for me. You can tell by the paint job what the quality of some ships is. For example, this is a tier 3 right here. This is a tier 2 of the same ship, and I think the tier 1 is actually just gray. But let's find a job. Let's go make some money, shall we? So on the mission board, these missions might be a little bit hard for us. I haven't actually retrofitted all my ships to be ready for this level of content yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to find a system. Oh yeah, this is how big the galaxy is, by the way. There you go. Every single one of those points of light is a system you can explore with things inside of it. I think a decent place for us to go might be somewhere like this system over here, like 4 or 5 levels below where I'm at. Just because I haven't retrofitted all my ships yet, we are going to have to... Let me buy some energy cells while I'm here for my warp drive. You got to buy fuel in this game. You got to hit the Space Valero every now and again. Energy cells, there we go. I will buy... Yeah, that seems like a decent amount of energy cells. Sure, why not? We'll talk about equipment, and we'll talk about retrofitting ships in just a little while so you can actually see how customizable this game is. It is very, very customizable, but the level of customizability is not immediately and readily apparent in this game. Apparently, I've got a job to kill a notorious pirate over there. Yeah, I could probably get down on that. Let's go kill that pirate real fast. We'll go ahead and do some light bounty. Oh, we warped in on a boss run. So there's something in this system that's important to know about. There's a boss in this system. So this right here is no joke. Like, this is actually one of the freeform bosses that exists inside the world, where they are effectively the same thing as like an MMORPG raid boss. You're not supposed to take these guys on until you're very, very high level with a very, very well-developed fleet, or you're just incredibly skilled at flying. And so a few seconds after jumping in, he wiped out my entire fleet. Luckily, they all managed to emergency jump out. You can set different thresholds for all of your wingmen. So, like, when do they evac from the battlefield in order to preserve their own life? And everybody got out. It's going to get a little bit expensive for me to buff out that damage. The paint got chipped a little bit, but I think it's going to be okay. That's a debris field right there. It's just basically a loot node, and the higher level you're salvaging is, the better stuff you get out of it. And the stuff that you pull out of there can be used for crafting, which we'll talk about in a little bit in the video to give you some idea of how the structure of the game works. If nothing else, it looks like my warp drive is charged back up, so we're going to jump on out of this boss-filled hellhole, and our target is in this area. Let me see if I can find a space station. The first time you jump into any system, the fog of war covers everything, and you don't know exactly where all the stations and all the refitting areas are. You got to kind of like fly them down and find them. I'm hoping, yeah, they're usually around planets, and so I always check planets first. Let's go ahead and jump everybody back in. There we go. And so they're all going to auto-repair when they get to the station. We're going to head down this way, and we're going to see if we can pick up our quarry real fast, assuming he doesn't get killed by someone else in the system that is hostile to him. It looks like it's a pretty big, beefy ship. Yeah, let's go ahead. He's like a Fer-de-Lance looking ship. All right, let's go ahead and we'll light him up real quick. He has cannons, and cannons hurt like hell. So I'm going to draw his fire while my wingmen take care of him. And then if he tries to aggro anybody else, I will jump back in. We'll put a little damage on him. There we go. Stick and jab, stick and jab. And he is now down. The quest has been confirmed, and we can go collect our reward from the original quest giver when we want to go get it. We can get an energy barrier over here. All of it's blue quality, which is actually really, really good. We've got hyper cooling over there. Okay, some nice stuff. And he dropped a plasma torpedo, which I don't actually think I've ever seen before. So there you go. It's tech level 18, though. I can't equip it right now. Every character in this game has varying levels that are like a little bit squirreled away. I'll show you. It's called knowledge, basically, and it encompasses what your character knows about living in the galaxy. So your tech level is from salvaging and breaking down gear and going through debris piles in space. As it levels up, it's going to enable you to use higher and higher tech weapons. Space pilot is your ability to pilot ships by yourself with no wingmen. So playing your game alone is totally and completely possible, and as you level that up, as you can see, you'll get various perks that make you more effective as a lone wolf pilot. We also have Fleet Commander. This determines how large your fleet can be. It is the opposite of Space Pilot, but leveling this up is going to give your fleet all kinds of random bonuses and whatnot. And then we've got Geology, and this is the tree that is all about mining and refining for people that want to get into the manufacturing process. So anyways, that's where you find your knowledge at. In here, you can also find your perks. Basically, perks are exactly what they sound like. They give your character bonuses, but they're hidden. You don't know how to get these. So as you play the game, they're kind of like weaponized achievements where randomly, like I got that one right there where I destroyed 200 units of junk and I got a perk, and I'm not exactly sure what it does. It doesn't really say. Like this one right here, this one gives me higher strafe speed because I escaped from an asteroid field. But like sometimes they don't really tell you. They're a little bit cryptic about what they do. This is the skill tree. The skill tree right here, you only get 50 skill points on a playthrough. That's not enough to actually fill out these trees. The point of the skill trees is that there are these perks down here at the bottom that unlock when you have a prerequisite number of points in any of the trees in combination. So for example, I have advanced cooling, which makes my weapons cool down way faster. That's because I have 10 points in engineering and combat, but you can get better scanners by having exploration in combat, so on and so forth. So this game is very much about picking a build and sticking with it to kind of get those efficiencies that you want in the regions and industries that you want them. Now, the game is not merciless. It doesn't make you re-roll if you want to respec. You can do that right here. I think you get a limited number of respecs. I think you get one for every 10 levels or something like that. So use them sparingly. But it is the system is there. And the weird thing about this game is that the various things you do inside the game, like unlocking perks and whatnot, they also unlock metagame progression for new characters that you make. So there is a solid amount of replayability here when it comes to building different fleet compositions and doing solo playthroughs versus like tons of fighter playthroughs, so on and so forth. It does seem like there's definitely replayability seems to be something that the developer definitely put some thought into. So we can get a boss pirate over here, wanted dead or alive for piracy, assisting murder, theft, kidnapping, destruction of property. I don't know if I can take a boss yet. I'm a little bit nervous about bosses. Let's see here. We'll kill that pirate right there. We also have another delivery that's inner system. And if we'd make this delivery, it'll actually tell me where the other, yeah, it's on that planet right there. It'll tell me where the other civilian base is. And that's one of those things that it saves me time. So usually if you're looking for something, take a quest to deliver something and it'll fill in on your map. The other option is that when you're in station, you can pay credits to have the map revealed and just like skip that entire process. It's up to you what you want to do. On the map, there are random things. There's random loot. There's derelict ships. There are pirate bases that you can knock over for loot. There are random fights that you will find emergently between different factions. So it never hurts, and there's definitely profit to be made in the margins as you're flying around the area. We have another pirate right there. I'll take that one. We've got another local delivery to go back across the system. So let me drop that off real quick, and then we'll kill off the pirate. Now that I've pulled into port, we'll drop off this quest very quickly to get a little bit of extra cash money cheddar stacks, and then we'll be on our way. So there's our paycheck, 900 bucks for basically doing nothing and flying across the system. Let's take a look at our map and figure out where this bounty hunt is. Actually, they're both in the same system. Okay, I'm going to save my game real quick just in case accidents happen, because sometimes, you know, one of your wingmen gets instantly melted, and these ships are very, very expensive. Like, you can definitely spend like 30 or 40,000 credits kitting out one of these ships and watch it get nuked instantly with missiles the second you jump into a system. It can be a little bit heartbreaking. Here's our target. Let's get him. Apparently, evac trash bag got, oh, he's got a burst cannon. Yeah, that makes sense. Burst cannons hurt. We got him, though. He is down. We had two of our ships evac on out, though. Let me see if I can find a space station to repair up the units that had to evacuate the battlefield. We do have a debris field up here, too, that I'd like to salvage while we're in the area. And then as I salvage this right here, once we go to the station, I'll show you the crafting system, because crafting is, in fact, incredibly important. In fact, I would argue integral to this game. Otherwise, your level of advancement is just going to, like, stop at a certain point. And so you definitely need to know how the crafting system works. In a nutshell, you start out with baseline parts, just like every other crafting system in every other game. In this case, iron and base components. You can manufacture your own base components if you want, and then you can get iron from salvaging gear that you no longer need. And then if you combine those together, you can make into, or you get iron and you get scrap metal, sorry. Iron and scrap metal are combined. Confetti bumps exploded from what? As I was saying before, one of my AI pilots decided to catastrophically forehead his way. They're not real good at avoiding debris. It's a thing that I've noticed that I think definitely needs to be worked on. The amount of times I'm just flying through a system and one of my fighters or like one of my yachts just sort of like headbutts an asteroid and dies while we're just in transit, like there was no violence or anything else. It happens quite a few times. I've loaded a lot of saves over the course of my playtime because of it. And so that's one thing in an otherwise very, very good game that I think should be looked at. But as I was saying, you combine scrap metal and you combine iron, and that will create base components. And then you take those base components and you combine them with like microchips, and it'll give you upgrade kits. And upgrade kits allow you to get into the nitty-gritty of the Diablo 2 style loot system by turning them from white items into green items and from green items into blue items. And upgrades are consequential in this game. They really sincerely are. The upgrades are very, very consequential. You're looking at like an extra 20% damage or like 20% speed or 20% shields a lot of the time on... Oh, this system's actually abandoned. There are no... Okay, fair enough. It looks like there was some kind of major battle here that just left debris fields everywhere. But as far as I can tell, this system is unpopulated. Yeah, I love the lighting effects in this game. The graphical stylings, like this is the perfect example of a game. A very, very perfect example of a game that like the modeling and the texturing is not like out of this world or incredible, but through the very clever usage of lighting and the very clever usage of depth and like perception and perspective, the game definitely bats outside its league graphically. It definitely does. It's a good looking game. We found 1,000. You brought a 1,000 bullets? That pirate was like, he went to the gun store and was like, I'd like to buy bullets. And the guy at the counter was like, how many bullets you want? He's like, how many you got? Like, that's a lot of bullets. That's a solid collection right there. Actually, I don't really need to keep salvaging. What I can do, though, is now that I know this is a really good salvaging system, I'm going to tag it real fast with a gray. And we'll call it a salvage system. As you can see, I've been noting other stuff around too, like there's epic gear for purchase over here from a rare vendor. There's epic gear for purchase over here with a rare vendor. There's a free ship over here that I just haven't had time to like tow back to a station. I am going to take you guys to a conflict zone so you guys can see what that looks like near the end of the video. We'll close out on like a crescendo so that you can see what the big kind of end game battles look like, because they do exist and they are pretty crazy. I need to turn in both of those bounties. So let's go ahead and pop on over here, and we'll turn in these bounties, get ourselves paid, get a little bit more cheddar in the wallet, get a little bit more guap, and then we'll head back on out because there's a few more people that need to be brought to justice because I am the law. So let's talk about equipment while I'm actually here inside of a station, because I think the customizability to this game is not readily apparent to like a new player. That's the part that really snuck up on me, is while I was playing the game, I was like, okay, the UI is kind of utilitarian. Like, I'd prefer that there be slots and I slide things in, but there's actually a reason it's arranged this way. And that's because the entire system is super customizable. So you can see here on my Eagle, I have 7 slots for weapons that I can just put on here. You can put anything you want in there. You want missiles? Put in missiles. You want lasers? Go lasers. You want Gatling guns? Put on Gatling guns. The world is your oyster. But the same thing goes for the equipment slots, and you will see that I have 38 equipment system slots. That's everything from power regeneration to shield regeneration to the amount of hull hit points you have. Every single one of these items has been customized and purchased and fiddled with and upgraded in order to bring my ship to where it is right now. And there are an enormous amount of items that you can play around with in this game. There's varying types and brands. So like there's not just like a deuterium warp drive, there's like tachyon warp drives and like impulse warp drives and other things like that that will do different things. So the perfect example is you've got scanners, right? And there's a normal scanner that increases how far you can see on your minimap. There's a tachyon scanner that gives you way more scanner power, but it doesn't quite go as far out as all the other ones. There's like 2 or 3 different types of most gear in this game. There's like a laser. There's like a, there's a laser. There's a burst laser. There is a rapid laser that's like somewhere in between the two right there. And then you can also customize, the firing delay so that if you want your guns to look like machine guns going off, you can take a bunch of single fire weapons and you can chain them so that they're like and it looks really cool. I mean, there's like so many things you can fiddle with. I've got software on my ship that gives me various buffs. I've got a spotlight in case I'm in a dark system. I've got a beam that collects my loot for me. I've got batteries to increase my energy capacity. And there really truly is a lot of stuff to customize here. And then once you're done with that, you get to get your pilots and you can put them into varying slots and their skills develop randomly and they upgrade their quality randomly and they get new perks just like you do. And so there's like so many different layers of complexity to this game that I think are not immediately obvious when you first start playing, that I really want to express that. Another cool thing that this game has is, let's go into the crafting system real fast. Inside the crafting system, anything that you salvage from your inventory, you can learn to craft, and it will add it to your crafting list. So for right now, what I need is like upgrade kits, right? Because I'm trying to get all of my ships in my fleet up to green quality with every single piece of equipment that's equipped on them, and that's like a pretty hefty task. So what I've been doing is, I've been breaking down a lot of gear to get iron, and I've been salvaging scrap metal, so I can take those and I can make base components like so, and then I can throw them into my universal storage. Did I mention this game has universal storage for equipment, weapons, and crafting materials, so that you don't have to remember what station you left them in? It's just got a generic, unlabeled universal storage for all of the stuff that is useful, that you might need later. As you can see, I have a bunch of parts down here that I've been saving that are all very high quality that I found around. so that when I build new ships and I get new pilots in my fleet, I can instantly kit them out from this little menu down here. I've got all my crafting materials. I've got all my laser beams and stuff that I've been holding on to for ship builds. Lots and lots of good ideas here. Trade goods, though, unfortunately, you can't put in universal storage. So the iron and the samarium and whatnot, I've got to carry around on me. Still, I love the fact that this game took kind of a laissez-faire attitude towards the idea of storage. It's never fun to have to truck across the entire space game for like 45 minutes to go pick up some piece of equipment that you need for like a specialized mission. I love the fact that they were just like, here's universal inventory, have fun. But yeah, now that I've made those base components, I can go into trading and I can go to goods and I can buy some microchips. And with the microchips, I actually need like 24 of these. I need a... Oh no, dude! Oh, okay, you can buy it to station. That's fine. I thought they ran out. They did not run out. They have like 700 more of them. And then if I come back over here, we can go on in and we can just mash out upgrade kits. That's it. If I had more refined metal, I could make blue upgrade kits, which are even better. They take you from green to blue quality. But for right now, this sort of lines up with what I'm trying to accomplish inside the confines of the game. And the upgrading system is very simple. You click on any item in your loadout that is white quality, click on it, and then you just click upgrade, and it'll use one of your upgrade kits, and it'll upgrade this bad boy right here, and it looks like it got, I think its DPS prior to this was like 28 or like 30, so yeah, it got like a solid 20% increase on its damage right there. I do need to select the hard point that this is going to go on. Actually, I think we're good. I'm not too upset about it. You can adjust the delay on your shots right there so that you can get like the desired effect you want from your salvo. And then the other thing I was talking about is not only can you craft upgrade kits and every single item in the game is craftable, I don't think you can build ships. That's the one thing that's missing. But you can craft every other item in the game. You can also build custom weapons. That's right. Do you want to make a Gatling gun that fires explosive bullets? You can do that. Do you want to create a laser that acts as point defense? You can do that. Do you want to create space mines that no longer explode on proximity? Instead, they have a timer on them. You can do that. Like, there's so many things you can do down here with the game's customization that can end up with a lot of really, really cool things being equipped on your ship. The other thing is, every single ship, aside from all of these loadout slots right here, if you go to the crafting menu, I didn't even notice this one until like 2 or 3 hours ago. Every single ship has enhancement slots, which is where you can use various components that you find throughout the galaxy to give your ship permanent tiered buffs that make it even more badass than it already is to really accentuate the role that you want that ship to have inside of your fleet. And so the ultimate thing that you get out of this recipe of customization is total and complete control over your fleet. And I think that's one of the reasons why I'm showing off the game right now, is because I think that's going to be a very attractive prospect to a lot of people. If there's one thing I know about players that play mech games and players that play games like Star Sector, it's that we like to fiddle with stuff, we like to tinker with stuff, we like to upgrade things, we like to go aftermarket, and this game has that in absolute heaps. So anyways, I've gotten through that entire run of stuff you need to be aware of. My ships will auto-repair if they get close enough to the station. I do wish that that feature was a thing for my ship too, and it may in fact be, but I can't seem to find it. We don't really have any jobs over here. I'm not really hunting anybody right now. What do they want me to do over here? We're killing pirates. Yeah, I can kill some pirates, dude. Let's go ahead and teleport on out. We'll kill some pirates. We'll stack a little bit more loot. Oh, there's a slightly bigger ship. I think that's a cruiser class right there. Yeah, a little bit bigger. Oh, we have a fight going on. What's happening? Confetti bumps. Don't get crazy. Don't get crazy, confetti bumps. Missiles are scary in this game. Like, I have my own missile users, but like, if I had to pick one thing in combat that instantly deletes my pilots before they have a chance to emergency warp out, it's almost always missile salvos. Missile salvos are just brutal in this game. There we go. Give me some of that deeps right there. You guys doing okay? There's a pirate hive over here. We're going to wipe them out real quick. Hey, we got a thermal regulator. Nice. And then make sure whenever you kill a pirate hive in this game, make sure when you kill a pirate hive, you go to the center of the pirate hive that's now husked out and dead. It drops loot. Like, some of the best loot in the game drops off of, like, Pirate Hive clearing. So don't cheat yourself out of tons of elite perps and blues. You can get freebies just by going to the center of the Pirate Hive where the loot drops every single time you kill one. In fact, on that last one, we got a blue kit. Very nice. Okay, what can I upgrade on my ship? I've got a Mark III shield generator that I can take up to blue tier that I think is a really good idea. Let's do that. That's bumped me up to 400 shields. This ship is just getting so well equipped to bat outside of its league right now. It's great. I'm going to turn on my headlight. I can't see very well. There we go. This is a very dark system where it's kind of hard to keeping the peace, huh? They've got pirate hideout problems. I can go clear that for you. I can fix that. Let's go ahead and swing on down to the southwest, and we'll kill off this pirate base to get a little bit more loot for the road. Our cargo hold's looking pretty good. We also got a large expansion module, which is pretty cool if you're planning on doing cargo hauling. Like if you wanted to do some spice trucking. You know, you wanted to get on out there, breaker, brother, Phantom 409. We taking a long haul from Los Angeles to Oakland. Like, if that's what you want to do, you can do it. Here's our target. No, not junk, dude. I don't want the junk. I'll go ahead and... Oh, he's shooting me with the Pinkie Pie lasers. Yeah, exactly. Stand in a straight line like that. That's my favorite. My favorite things to shoot at are things that stand in straight lines and don't try to evade my fire. Normally they do. The AI can be incredibly wiry and difficult to kill in this game sometimes. Like, they will definitely bob and weave. For whatever reason, those pirates didn't feel like doing it. It's because different AIs have different AI configurations. So if we go to our fleet menu up here, you can configure behavior for each of your pilots and what you want them to do. So for, like, my pilot that has a bunch of missiles, I tell him to hang back and engage. But you can decide their role, whether it's damage, healing, or mining. You can decide their tactics, so they can alternate. That means that when they have aggro, they run away, and then basically they monitor each other's aggro tables. When one pilot gets aggro, he runs away and tries to get, like, basically break engagement, and all the other pilots will dive in and dogpile, and then when aggro swaps, that one will run away. So you get kind of this constant, like, convergence and then, like, dispersal. When you're in the fight, there's strafe and fire. That's a hard engage tactic right there for ships that have very, very high lateral movement. Basically, they get on in there and they just try to dodge the bullets and stay in the fight and brawl. Hit and run, kind of like alternate, but a little bit different. That Marauder is robbing this person. Hold on. I see piracy happening. I cannot stand idly by. Oh, never mind. He's about to die to missiles. Yep, he just got missed. Ow, yo, you shot me. Okay, I can't believe you. No! No! Stop shooting the... No! Stop shooting the Sentinel! Oh my god. So what happened right there was... one of the Sentinel's missiles struck me. And my pilot saw the missile strike me from a neutral faction. At which point, my pilot said, "Please stop killing the big tuna," and came after me. They were like, you can't hit my big kahuna. Like, they're very loyal, all right? Like, I was willing to let that accidental missile impact go and just be like, hey, man, what's one missile in between friends of high faction alignment? But apparently my minions thought otherwise and felt that retaliation was necessary. That's what I get for constantly acting tough around the mess hall and talking about how we hit our enemies back 5 times as hard as they hit us. We have murdered a civilian peacekeeper. We'll turn in that pirate bounty. I will take the cargo expansion module, I think. But I'm really only taking it so that I can deposit it for later, just in case I feel like space trucking. I don't know if I feel like space trucking just yet. I also need to deposit all my upgrade kits, my thermal regulators. I need to sell that ammo. Those robotics that we got I need to sell. I need to deposit that guy. The microchips have got to stay on me because they're a trade good, so they can't go inside my storage, which is a little bit of a bummer, but that's life. You know, if there's one thing I've learned about life is that frequently it is an unabashed bummer. I do need more fuel for my gas tank. You don't need fuel for anything other than warp jumps, in case you were wondering. And so normally when you're salvaging debris fields, you get a lot of energy cells back from salvaging. And so I usually don't have to buy fuel that much, but we're moving around a lot right now because I'm trying to show the game off. At this point, I think it's a really, really good time to show you what a conflict zone looks like and how crazy that can get. If we get really lucky during this experience, the enemies will jump in dreadnoughts to fight each other, which are like ships that are larger than this space station right here. About twice as large, actually. And so if we get really, really lucky, we might get to see a dreadnought in the conflict fight. But let me go find one so that you can see what endgame content looks like, where you actually have like a massive 30-ship fleet that is capable of knocking down enemy stations and dictating who rules the galaxy and like what side you want to win, basically. So this is a conflict zone right here. As you can see, we have an enemy fleet that is probably headed for this syndicate trading station right here. We are going to jump in on this fight. We are going to take it to the mattresses, and we're going to see how chaotic it gets. It's going to be about 3 or 4 minutes before the fleet gets here, so obviously there's going to be a little bit of an edit, and I'm sorry for that. But I am trying to show off kind of what the late game stuff is going to look like too, like the actual real mayhem and chaos that you can get up to if you get yourself into too much trouble. I needed to stop off at this station down here anyways and save my game because we haven't saved in a little while, and you can only save at stations and jump gates. So I'm going to do that. I don't know why you're not allowed to like quick save wherever you want so long as you're not in combat. Seems like kind of a little bit of a weird thing, I guess. I'm a big fan of being able to save whenever I want, but the game does pause if you go into the options. So it's not that big of a deal, and I have seen 0 crashes. I've had nothing but stability. I've seen 0 bugs. I'm going to be honest with you, for a project that's made by one guy, this game is rattling along pretty well. Like, its impression the last time I covered the game was positive, but this time around I'm just utterly enamored. I was looking for something like Star Sector to play around with because I played way too much Star Sector, and I'm kind of like tired of it, and I'm waiting for more content. And so like I wanted to let it cool off for a little bit, but I still wanted to play space games, and man, Star Valor has been eating up the hours for me. I'm actually going to go scout this faction real fast to make sure that they're not engaged in fighting already. I went ahead and I docked my entire fleet inside the space station so that they would not be at risk, or really, like they were going to do something really, really dumb, like engage the entire enemy invasion flotilla by themselves. They were going to have like one of those Jon Snow facing down the horde moments, and it was not going to work out for my, it was not going to work out A, for my balance book, and B, it was not going to work out at all for my pilots. It was basically going to ruin their lives. Let's go ahead and have a look over here and see what these guys are doing. Oops, I accidentally swapped my... Ooh, there's a big ship right there. Yeah, I mean, it's not really much of an invasion fleet. I'm going to help out with this, though, and just get him out of the way. Ooh, blue kit right there. You love to see it. We've got another fight happening on this side. This is actually more of a skirmish than a big fight, in all honesty. Like, this is kind of like, this is two factions testing each other. You did get to see one of the bigger ships though right there. Let me see if I can find another conflict zone that's maybe a little bit more intense maybe. Let's go take a look at this enemy battle fleet in this system. Have they already joined the fight? Like, is the fight happening right now? They don't seem to be moving, and that usually means that the fight is going on, like, as we speak. So I think I've been, like, a late arrival. Oh, no, they're just, like, over here. Oh, they're firing at me. Yeah, there we go. We're going to need to kick on the thrusters a little bit and maybe, like, get the hell out of here. There's a lot of them. I'm going to wait to see if they collide with anybody over here. Well, the defense force is starting to scramble. Yeah, so we might see something go down over here. It seems like both sides are posturing at this juncture. Like, they're both kind of like arranging their forces on the opposite end of the Warhammer 40K board. And like, it's really coming down to who's going to charge first. It does look like Red Fleet is on the move right now. They were over the debris field just a second ago. Let's see what happens when these two groups clash. Like, this is honestly one of the smaller battles that I've seen. I had one that was so huge that my entire scanner down here was just red and green ships. Every void in every area was covered in ships, and they jumped in like a Dreadnought Titan that was like way bigger than the space station itself, and it was annihilating stuff. Oh yeah, the fight's going. Let's go, let's scramble. It's time for us to get our what? Oh, missiles flying everywhere. I'm just gonna pick off the littler ships real fast, the escorts. Oh, missiles to my hull. Oh, oh God, okay, yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff going on over here. Let's go ahead and unload on them a little bit. We'll give them the old dumpy boys. Perfect. Lots of damage out right there, lots of bounty happening. Having trouble actually telling what I'm shooting at. You can't hit units that are allied with you, so you can't hit allies that are yellow or green. So don't worry about firing into like amassed enemies or whatever and worrying about hitting your own guys. It's usually not an issue. Oh, they did. They brought in a dreadnought. Okay, so there we go. That is either a pirate cruiser or a pirate dreadnought, and he's an elite too. Hopefully he drops something good. He dropped a crystal chamber and 2,000 bullets. In this game, you might be saying to yourself, this is a question that I kind of had to answer when I was streaming the game. People were like, so if that's a cruiser class vessel, how come it dies so fast? And I'm like, well, because it's got the amassed fire of like 30 or 40 ships on it. In this game, being in a bigger ship does not make you safer. It does to a certain extent, but every big ship in this game needs to be specialized to have a job, be that like killing small ships, killing medium ships, killing large ships, and that means that there's a gap right there. The other thing about this game is that the ships are very well balanced, so like the smallest ships in the game, when outfitted with like purple gear and purple pilots and whatnot that are very, very high skilled and very, very expensive loot, can definitely take down massive ships just by outmaneuvering them. And so, like, everything in this game is kind of viable depending on how good you are at flying and also how good you are at building loadouts. And that's one of the things I find compelling about this game, is that it really wraps you up in sort of just this loop of trying to develop perfect builds for every ship in your fleet and, like, fiddling with parts and like customizing and all that kind of stuff so that you can get into bigger and bigger battles. I mean, there's not a huge amount of mission variety. There's, but like the missions aren't really the point of the game, I don't think. The missions are just there to help you make money and then to encourage you to fly like 2 or 3 systems away and explore and kind of get involved in activities while you're doing those quests on the side. And so I haven't really minded it that much. I really sincerely haven't. I've been playing the game kind of like Star Sector, where I just fly around, do stuff, stack up money, buy ships, spend a bunch of time grinning ear to ear while I customize those ships, and then you take them out into battle and they get like one-shotted and you're heartbroken, or they go out into battle and they're a huge force multiplier for your fleet and you're like, okay, I got the formula right on that one, and then you try to reproduce it with other weapons. Like, there's so many fun things to play around with this game, and I'm impressed that this is a one-man operation. Like, apparently he's been working on it for about 6 years. The game is coming out of early access fairly soon, like the next couple of weeks. The game is $15 on Steam right now, and personally, I can't recommend it highly enough. This game is fantastic. It's got loads and loads of depth. There's tons of things to work on. I do think like the text-based UIs and things could be a little bit cleaner. And sometimes it's taken me a little while to find what I want to do inside the UI. But once you get over that initial learning curve of like learning the UI and what you can do versus what you can't do, the game gets a lot smoother and it gets a lot more fun. So anyways, Star Valor. I have adored this game so far. I really don't have too many negative things to say about it. I think it's a great game, and for 15 bucks, you can do a whole lot worse. My name is Splattercat. I sift through the pile to find what's worthwhile in the world of indie games every single day so you don't have to. Today up on the chopping block, we had Star Valor, which after 10, 15 hours of playing, I'm pleased to say that I'm very, very happy with as an open world space game fan. I'll see y'all later. Thank you for stopping on in. Thank you for sharing the luxury of your time with me, and I'll be back tomorrow with something hot and fresh off the indie skillet. Bye, everybody.